Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome again to our meeting. Glad to see you all as always. Excuse me. So a couple of business things, and then we'll move on. First of all, our meetings, of course, was January 3rd, the 10th, the 21st, 24th, and the 31st, February 7, 14, and 28. No meetings January 17th, which is Martin Luther King Day, and February 21st, which is President's Day. So you'll get a little bit of break from me. Aren't you lucky? So second thing is just a reminder that after the meeting, we'll be kibitzing with colleagues. For those of you who've had that experience, it is just strictly an informal gathering for anybody who wants to stay online, to chat with others, to get better acquainted, to ask for help, share information, etc. So I encourage you all to join us, but I know many of you that's a little difficult, but we'd love to have you participate. Going back to the top here, want to thank again our sponsors, Care First Health Plan, Broadcasters Association, Satellite Broadcasters, United Way, Valley of the Sun, and Khajiit. And we are launching a sponsor campaign. And so you'll all be getting emails from me, but we need to up our sponsorship again for this year. So if any of you can help, we would greatly appreciate it. And again, as you can see, if you're looking at the page, that the sponsors are included on that page with a link to their website. So we would greatly appreciate any help you can provide. And again, you'll be hearing from me more about that as we go on. Again, I want to remind you that we do have an events and updates page, and I've tried to keep it fairly up to date with things that are happening, federal funding, state funding, job announcements, and so forth. So I encourage you to check that page out every week and see the latest updates. And speaking of updates, some of you may have received one or more emails from me about this meeting. And I can't tell you what's going on, but I was having some kind of a problem that my emails were bouncing back with some kind of an announcement that there was a virus in my email. Couldn't find it, don't know where it is, but anyway, I deleted a lot of the announcements and then didn't have that problem anymore. So there's something that I copied from somebody that was causing a problem. I don't know if that was a link or whatever. So those of you who may not have gotten the full email, I apologize for that and have to figure out what's happening with that. Moving on to the agenda for today. Excuse me. So again, just a reminder, if you haven't done so, to please use our Google form and include all of your contact information. So we have your emails, your phone number, your job position, and so forth. So please take a couple minutes to do that. Won't take long. So a couple of announcements. So I'm sorry to report, which I mentioned earlier for some of you, that Henry Goldberg will no longer be preparing the meeting reports. Henry did a phenomenal job for probably 2 years on a pro bono basis. Greatly appreciate all the work that he did on that. We will miss him. Meanwhile, we're looking for alternatives, including the Zoom transcript. And so, Karen, you want to repeat what you had commented on earlier? Karen, are you there? Guess she's gone. So what Karen was saying is we have a lot of folks who are on this call, and I don't know if any of you have a staff person. We are experimenting with doing a transcript of a Zoom transcript, which is certainly not as ideal as the work that Henry did. But until we find another alternative, that's going to be our go-to for the moment. But it will need some editing and so forth. So if any of you have somebody who might be able to help us with that, or any suggestions, I'm open to hearing what alternatives you might have. Okay, moving on. Tim Carter. Tim, I don't know if you're online or not. Tim Carter, Yavapai County School Superintendent, is looking to hire a broadband coordinator. If any of you are interested or know somebody who might be interested, please contact him, and he can provide you additional information about the position that they're looking for. Okay, and then the ASU Smart Region Summit. Anybody online? Derek, are you here? Anybody else from ASU that wants to talk about that? Okay, well, the Smart Region Summit is, I believe it's Wednesday, the 13th. And obviously because of our dear COVID, they have decided to go virtual. So rather than it being live at ASU, it will be virtual, and encourage you all to attend. It ought to be an interesting program.
Steve, that's Thursday, the 13th.
Thursday?
Yep.
Okay, sorry about that.
And Steve, Erin's on it. She's one of the speakers, so she could probably speak to it.
Yeah,
If
Erin, are you on?
I am.
Erin.
So Erin, you want to talk about that?
There you go.
Sure. Yeah, it is Thursday the 13th. We did shorten the entire series in hopes that everyone would be able to attend, jump on for part of it. I think we'll have a session that begins at 9:30, and Angela Seifer is one of the speakers. So we'll be talking about policy. We'll be talking about what's happening in Arizona and around the world. We have perspectives from India and from Africa. And it should be a really fantastic event. It's being opened by Michael Crow and by the CEO of Verizon Business. And so please jump on. Larry Irving will be there. And I think as of right now, we have about 600 registered attendees. And It's going to be a dialogue. And we have students who are participating, talking about their, sort of boots on the ground work. And I think the perspectives of everyone who is here would be greatly appreciated. And this is the team that's really doing all that work. So please join us if you can.
Okay, Erin, so you want to just tell people quickly who you are and
Oh.
who some of those people are that you mentioned?
Sure, absolutely. I'm Erin Carr-Jordan. I'm the head of social impact at ASU. I'm also stepping in as the director of the Digital Equity Institute. The launch of that institute was formally slated to be discussed at a dinner, the gala that was happening later that evening. We're pushing that obviously in hopes of making sure that everyone stays safe around COVID. And so,
Erin, is that dinner just postponed to another date, or?
It is, yeah. Right now we're looking at April, but we're relying heavily on our health experts to let us know when the most appropriate time for that would be.
Okay. Okay, any questions for Erin?
Hi, Erin, this is Joy Whiting. By chance, is that going to be recorded? I know I have a conflict that morning, and I'd really like to hear some of the information that's being discussed.
It sure is. Yeah, absolutely. It will be. And we'll post it out of the UTO, the ASU University of Technology office, probably the following day.
Okay, thank you, Erin.
Absolutely. And if you register, you'll automatically get the update of when it's posted too.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Cindy, are you online? Cindy Hogan? Cindy, are you there? Hello? Well, maybe she's not here today. But you may have seen a previous announcement that we are looking for somebody who might be willing to sponsor Cindy's participation in the National Digital Inclusion Alliance Net Inclusion Conference that's coming up in February. For those of you who know Cindy, she is awesome, has done incredible work in digital inclusion, including a great participant and supporter in this task force. And Cindy is an AmeriCorps member working right now with Literacy Connects. So she really doesn't have anybody to support the expenses for her to attend that conference. And I believe she said it's going to cost her about $2,000 that she's planning to pay out of her own pocket. So if anybody out there would be willing to host and sponsor her, please let me know or contact Cindy. Okay.
That event might also go virtual. So good to keep an eye on that.
Oh yeah, good point. Yeah, everything.
It's early February, so it's quite possible that one might go virtual as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Aaron. And then we have the School Connect 6th Annual Summit. Do you want to give us an update about that quickly?
Sure, Steve. Yeah,
Tracy.
this summit, I'm the CEO and founder of School Connect, and this will be bringing together superintendents and principals along with business leaders, nonprofit, government, and faith leaders. We are still holding it in person at this point, but we will have masks and distancing and everything we can to make that as safe as we possibly can, but want to build partnerships to be able to really unite around the purpose of having kids thrive. We are going to be highlighting West Brownfield will be one of our on our panel talking about the Final Mile project. And so we're excited about really highlighting some of the work that has been done by people on this team. Really grateful for that. So the link is in the chat. We would love to have you.
Okay, thank you, Tracy. And so Cindy, are you still not online? Okay, well, just quickly, Cindy did do a summary for us. At the last meeting, people asked about EBB and how that's been going. So just quickly, Apache County, 11,000 people have signed up. Cochise, 3,000, 3,500. Coconino, about 4,000. Gila County, 167. Maricopa, what a surprise, 90,000. Mojave County, 4,500. Navajo County, 11,500. Pima County, 34,000. Pinal County, 8,000. Santa Cruz County, 2,000. Yavapai County, 2,500. And Yuma County, 8,900, roughly 9,000. So that was as of December 26th. So we did pretty good with getting people signed up, but of course we're going to see a new version of that program being launched very shortly. So
Steve, I can give you an update on that.
Okay, Mala, please do.
Okay, thanks. First of all, glad to be back after a 3-week vacation. I really relaxed and chilled out, so hadn't been keeping up to date until end of last week. So I'm glad to be back and glad to see so many attending this still. Yeah, for the broadband benefit program, there was $3.1 billion available. That was up to December 31st. Now it has changed into the Affordable Connectivity Program and has $14.2 billion that is available. Of course, it has changed slightly in that we have, instead of $50 per month, it's $30 per month per household. That is not located on tribal lands. For those that are on tribal lands, it's $75 a month. That doesn't change. The households qualifying for the Affordable Connectivity Program must have be below the poverty line, 200% below federal poverty guidelines. They should be either on WIC or should receive other subsidies, government subsidies. There is a whole list of them on the EBB website. It's still the EBB website. And those that have currently qualified, the program as it stands will continue till March, end of March, March 22nd. But already the ones who are registering anew for this will be under the new program rules. There has been, you broke it down for us very nicely, Steve. We have about 202,000 households that have been signed up for EBB from the start of the program. We still are within the top 15. We are number 12 in the numbers that have applied for the program. And there has been some comment to FCC from E-Rate Central, from Shelby, saying that they should include homeless shelters if possible, minor rule changes about family eligibility, and the transient nature of the homeless center residents. They also talked about schools and school districts auto enrolling every household where the child is eligible for a free lunch program. And they have put in comments about the minimum standards for the devices, that a phone cannot be considered a device. We need at least a better QWERTY keyboard and adequate screen size to do research, etc. Any questions?
Okay, thank you, Mama.
You're welcome, Steve.
Hey,
So-
Steve, it's Mike at Tucson House. I don't have a question. I'd like to make a quick comment, I think.
Okay,
Okay. Just for those who are unfamiliar, I live in Tucson House, and it's public housing, let's say 400 plus people here. I've been helping people with everything, including tech and EBB and such. And I'm expecting a lot of people in this building to lose broadband due to the fact that because I made some calls, the EBB went from 50 to 30. And the internet service providers are not, they don't have any plans available where $30 covers the service and the modem. So a lot of people in this building are going to lose access. Looking into it, and for what it's worth, in case anybody's interested, because I noticed some things were out of date on their website, the community wireless program in Tucson is still active, even though the information on the website is outdated. And that's about it, Steve.
okay, thank you, Michael.
Hey, Michael,
Michael?
I'm sorry.
No, go
May I
ahead.
make
go
a-
ahead.
May I make a point about that $30 drop?
Yes.
So so my industry is also looking at that problem because a lot of my colleagues that are on the EBV program are actually trying to decide what to do with that differential in the cost. The general consensus is try to maintain the customers at that point, at that price point. But you are right, there is going to be a problem with that. It's actually being considered as to what choices we have. Triad has a program that's actually less expensive than that anyway. But as an industry, it is now it's a huge problem that has to be solved in some way, shape, or form. Or a lot of people are going to be cut off here very quickly.
Yeah, for what it's worth to mention, I checked with Cox and they still have a $29.99 program, but it's like for new signups and for people who have children in school. So the $30 will cover that, but that's it. You have to be a new sign up.
Okay, so a couple of
Michael?
things. Excuse me one second. So when you speak, since we are trying to do this transcript, if you would introduce yourself so we know who's speaking, it would be really helpful.
Okay.
Steve, this
ahead.
is Mala. And this is a comment for Michael. Michael, if you could send me a note about what you just said. We have meetings through Shelby with FCC, and we certainly would love to take comments from the ground to FCC to see what program changes or, at least rule modifications they can make. Not that I'm sure they won't change the rules, but if they can give us some guidelines that would enable us to address the issues that you have been talking about. I'd really appreciate that, Michael. And this is Mala. My email address is mala@azlibrary.gov.
All right. Thank you much. I will reach out to you.
Thank you.
Okay, any more comments about that? Okay, moving on. So again, we're launching a sponsorship campaign. Want to be able to keep the task force going. So we really do need folks to step up and be sponsors. So again, you'll be getting an email from me. Okay, so I'm sorry, somebody had something to say? Okay, so moving on, let's go to our updates. Jeff is not here today. He is sick. So he sent me a note last night that he is not available. So Mala, do you have anything more that you want to add besides what you've already reported on?
Just a little about E-rate. E-rate today is the last day for the administrative window. This window is open for people schools and libraries that want to correct the data that they have there, either with their address, location, or with any changes in their NSLP data, etc. Today, 12 o'clock midnight Eastern Standard Time is when it closes. It doesn't mean that they cannot make any changes later. Only thing is they cannot do it themselves. They have to go through the customer service to change any of their profile information. So we are encouraging people to do it as quickly as they can today. If there are changes, especially some have added space, some have reduced space. So the square footage is important for category 2 internal connections information. The window has, USAC announced the window opening. It formally opens on January 12th. That's coming up close, and then it would end on March 22nd. This is for applications for July 1, 2022 to June 30th of 2023 for E-rate reimbursements for that period. So any questions on that? Anything that anyone needs to know? Happy to answer. Otherwise, back to you, Steve.
Okay. Holly, I don't know if you're online, but Nicole, I see that you're here. Do you have anything that you'd like to add?
Sure. So we're all very excited about the FCC's Affordable Connectivity Program. I put in a link, our update. We've changed over our EBB page to our ACP page, which is a clearinghouse of information for individuals, as well as for all of the organizations that we're working with who are all trying to get people informed about this program and to support some of those signups. So we have resources for individual consumers looking to subscribe, as well as organizations trying to figure out how to become navigators themselves. We also have our digital navigators who for the past several months have been supporting signups for EBB, and we're doing our best to stay updated and keep informed about all the programs that are available from service providers in Arizona. And you can see some of those listings on our website. Cindy and I have also been supporting the Arizona Digital Inclusion Network, which is a gathering of different practitioners in the state to focus on different broadband adoption and digital literacy topics. This month, our next meeting is going to be on Thursday the 20th, and we'll be specifically talking about ACP signups for all of our organizations that we've been learning from. So look for some invites that will be coming out from Cindy and I later this week. And the final piece of our kind of updates with Connect Arizona is we have our directory of practitioners that's going to be replacing our virtual learning directory that's currently on the website. So that is live in our testing side of our website, and we're excited to share that with you as well.
Okay, thank you, Nicole. Any questions for Nicole?
I had a brief question. I was wondering, in the applications for Arizona, do we know the difference between applications for tribal communities versus the rest, as far as how much of that money is being utilized for tribal versus all of the other households?
It can be researched because the data that they have up there is by zip code. So you will need to go zip code by zip code to find out information. You will get a total tribal application, but that is for the entire country. If you want to go state by state, you'd have to go through the zip codes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Again, please, when you when you speak, to please announce who you are so that we can keep that up to date. Okay, anything else from the library? Janet Major, are you online? Apparently not. So just an announcement that for those of you who who knew the founder of the Arizona Telemedicine Program, and he recently died, that they are having a celebration of his life on Sunday here in Tucson, and will also be available online. And I will provide that information to all of you if you're interested. Okay, moving on. Sophia, Karina, Kelly, anything from the Department of Education, please? And Mylan, whoops.
Hi, morning. This is Kelly from Digital Teaching and Learning and with the Department of Education. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. And I'm not quite sure if others are available to speak right now, but as far as digital teaching and learning, we keep continuing to dive into our assessment and the results. We sent out that newsletter with some minor updates last week. We're posting that to our blog as well. And we're trying to set deadlines and meet those deadlines as far as the information that we're sharing. So we continue to work on that and dive into it so that we can get that information out by the end of next month.
Okay. Any comments or questions for Kelly? Just a reminder, I did send their newsletter out to everybody and would encourage you, if you want to keep up to date on what they're doing, to make sure you sign up for their newsletter.
Thank you, Steve, for doing that. I appreciate it.
You bet. Moving on, Leah, are you online? Haven't seen you in a while. I know you're busy. So Leah's not here. Derek, you online?
Yeah, I am, Steve. If I can find the mute button. Yeah, I don't know that I have a lot to add this morning, but construction continues on I-17. It's on time and on budget. I-19 will be awarded later this month by the Transportation Board. Sun Corridor Network, we finished a major data center move over the holiday, kind of the gap between Christmas and New Year's, positioning us to have our 400 gig core live probably by mid-February. So some pretty major kind of internal workings at SCN that we're pretty proud of, and we'll be making some press about that once it's live. Continuing to build our community network, our digital equity network in the Isaac School District, adding a couple of new schools there, and working with Pinal County Schools to roll out EduRoam, and that's pretty exciting. I think they'll be the first to have EduRoam deployed in their schools. So I think that's what I got today in terms of an update.
Thank you. So I've been watching the transcript and lots of errors. So it's going to be interesting. We'll try to get that cleaned up here. But it's going to be quite interesting to see the live transcript here. Wes, are you online? Wes, are you there? So anybody have any updates on what's happening with the Final Mile project? I didn't see Mylan either.
Yeah, I can handle. This is Rory from Triad Wireless. So, Gila Bend is done. Our guys are actually putting the tower up in Pima right now. This morning, should have it live by tomorrow night, is a rough guess. Katrina's working on taking orders out in that area. I don't have any information on how many we've taken so far, but they're keeping track of it. We'll probably start in Holbrook right after that, somewhere around the 20th or so. And then similar to that will be Rimrock. We're checking on now to see what day we can start on that, but probably before the end of the month. The only one that's going to be slightly delayed is Forest Lakes. Yeah, because Chevron Butte, due to some tower shipping issues, is one problem, and then equipment shipping issues is the other problem. So supply chain's kind of kicking our butt on that specialized operation. So other than that, we should have most of them completed here pretty soon.
Okay, thank you, Rory. Any questions for Rory?
Steve, this is Karen. I just wanted to add, I spoke to Mylan this week, and he is working on, I think, 3 additional RFPs for other communities. And so he said he expects to have those out within like the next 10 days.
Okay.
Yes. Can I add to that?
Sure.
Okay, this is Mala.
Go ahead, Myla.
And yeah,
Mala.
and yes, and we've been discussing with Pima County for Arawaka and Aho communities getting their fiber connectivity. And this will be a consortium between the schools and public libraries in that area. We're working on some of the technical aspects of getting them out of one consortium and included in another consortium. And I'm waiting for some clarifications from USAC. We will do it within this week so that we have time for the RFPs and time for the applications to happen.
Okay. Any other questions or comments for anybody about Final Mile? So with that, let's move on to our presentation this morning. Welcome Brian Daly, who's AT&T Assistant Vice President for Standards and Industry Alliances, and he's Network Chief Technology Office and Chair of the GSM Association's North American Fraud Forum and Security Group. And I know he doesn't have a lot of time today, but he is very involved with cybersecurity, which is one of the areas that we will be looking at with this task force. So with that, Brian, I'm going to turn this over to you. I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Steve. I'll go ahead and begin my sharing. And
so
let me know that I have the right screen shared here.
So while he's
you
doing
able
that,
to see
I was watching the transcriptions here, and it's going to be very interesting because there was lots and lots of errors. So I'm not sure how we're going to deal with that. Anyway, go ahead, Brian.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Just testing the audio. You can hear me okay, right?
Yep.
Okay, very good. And you see my PowerPoint slide, correct?
Yep.
Okay, very good. So thank you for the brief introduction. Yeah, again, I'm responsible for standards and industry alliances within the Chief Technology Organization at AT&T. In addition to that, I do hold a number of industry roles. As Steve mentioned, I'm the chair of the GSM Association's North American Fraud Forum and Security Group, where we look at fraud and security related topics for the North American region. I'm also a member of the FCC's Communication Security, Reliability, and Interoperability Council, where I'm currently co-chairing the 5G Security Working Group. And I'm also on the FCC's Technological Advisory Council, where I also co-chair the 5G Working Group. So I do hold a number of industry roles. So what I would like to tell you and where they're headed. Within AT&T, as I mentioned, being within AT&T Labs, which is our research and development arm, I do work alongside some of the brightest innovators and engineers with the mission of turning something into every day. And this is true for 5G. What was some too long now? In fact, if you look at the timelines, I began working on 5G back around 2012, and in 2015 is requirements of the Communications Union, or ITU, and the standards were developed and completed in 2020. So 5G is no longer in the distant future. It's here and now for our customers. And why is this important? We all know we're in a period of rapid digital transformation and automation that has the potential to revolutionize industries and improve every person's quality of life. And we all know that this is one of the biggest impacts of COVID-19. Within AT&T, our global network has experienced well over 40% year-over-year increase in data traffic on average during the pandemic. And demand for fixed and mobile data continues to grow at a rapid pace. And what might be a surprise is actually the uplink is growing faster than the downlink. And we're seeing more and more sensors and devices on the network grow, and the pool of data is only going to get larger and more difficult to manage. And in this background of record volumes of data that networks now manage, and the need for lower latency and real-time applications, We've been hard at work bringing the next generation of wireless to consumers and businesses within the fast, reliable, and secure 5G networks. And the same is true not only for AT&T. This spans across all the operators, Verizon, T-Mobile, and others as well. Nationwide 5G network is one of the keys that, we have more than 250 million people across the country currently covered over nationwide 5G. And like every wireless generation before, 5G provides higher speeds and capacities, but it's also opening opportunities for so much more. We're seeing autonomous vehicles emerging, private networks and businesses, medical devices and connected ambulances, artificial reality and virtual reality, and immersive experiences in gaming and communication. We're seeing experiences that are much more vivid, dynamic, and interactive, all with lower latency and more capacity. And a few of the use cases supported by 5G include healthcare. Reeling from a global pandemic, the healthcare industry can take advantage of 5G and related technologies like artificial reality, virtual reality, edge computing, and artificial intelligence. They're already beginning to make a material difference through applications such as telemedicine, remote monitoring, and even enhanced medical training. In hospitals, 5G distributed small cells and multi-access edge computing would allow hospital administrators to keep patient data secure and local while allowing guests to stream their favorite shows from the internet. We're also seeing the world of manufacturing, supply chain, and logistics, which is striving for innovation due to ever-growing global demand for goods. And more recently, as the pandemic saw a surge in e-commerce, 5G drive more functionality closer to the edge of the network. Smart factories will revolutionize manufacturing as they use the entire supply. These are just some of the ways 5G is changing the world. We look at transformation in education, agriculture, national defense, transportation, retail, and more. It's been just over a decade since 5G journey, and over that decade, we continue to lead the charge for 5G deployment and applications for and providing continued innovation. Over the past 5 years, we've invested $110 billion in our wireless and wireline networks, including capital investments in acquisition of spectrum and operations. Our long-term goals are to bring fast, reliable, and secure 5G to more consumers, businesses, and first responders across key areas: sports and venues, entertainment, travel and transportation, business transformation, and security and public safety, including FirstNet. The 2020s will certainly be the decade for both 5G deployments and advancements, as well as the decade for creating the next G, 6G. After the initial delivery in late 2020, known as non-standalone new radio specifications for 5G, much effort on P15, which was the first full set of 5G standards, and work to pass the first milestones for the 3GPP submission towards the ITU's IMT 2020. While the initial specifications enabled what's known as non-standalone 5G radio systems, which are integrated 5G radios with the previous generation LTE networks, the scope of 5G release stands to cover standalone 5G with a new radio system complemented by next generation core network. It also embraces enhancements to LTE and implicitly the evolved packet core. This crucial waypoint enables vendors to progress rapidly with chip design, and initial network implementation, which occurred during 2019, is a future release, for, not least because it brings IMT 2020 submission to completion, but also provides for a full 3GPP 5G system. In addition to the formal process, work progressed on around 25 Release 16 studies on a variety of topics, including vehicle to everything, application layer services, 5G satellite access, local area network support in 5G, wireless and wireline convergence for 5G, terminal positioning and location, communications in vertical domains, and network automation and novel radio techniques. Technical reports have also been developed on broadening the applicability of 3GPP technology to non-terrestrial radio systems, initially satellites, but airborne base stations are also to be considered, and maritime aspects, intra-ship, ship-to-shore, and ship-to-ship 5G. Work has also progressed on new functionality in LTE, including railway-oriented services, originally developed using GSM radio technology, and that's now nearing the end of life. And it's also as part of Release 16, mission critical services were extended to a wider business sector than the initial public safety and civil defense sectors, which they originally had been developed. Similar standards can be used for commercial applications such as taxi dispatching and railway traffic management, and other vertical sector scenarios currently being investigated to bring those mission critical services to wider deployments. 3GPP Release 17 will bring more use cases when mobile communications can be utilized. Primary aim of Release 17 is to improve the 5G system performance, support new use cases in verticals, and provide ubiquitous connectivity in different deployment conditions and scenarios. Several of the features in Release 17 are intended to enhance network performance for existing services and use cases while addressing new use cases and deployment options, including machine type communication, side link enhancements, which is used for vehicle to X, as well as public safety and defense use cases, as well as integrated access and backhaul. Now, integrated access and backhaul is a feature that's really important when you look at densification and deployment of cell sites in dense environments. Because one of the things you have to do is bring the traffic from the cell sites back to the core network. And if you have to have fiber runs out to each and every cell site that are deployed, that becomes problematic, especially in a dense environment, such as an urban environment. Integrated access and backhaul allows you to use the radio spectrum to provide backhaul from the cell sites back to the network of the data so that you don't have to do fiber runs out to each and every cell site. So that's an important feature that allows for the deployment of 5G cell sites in dense environments. 3GPP, I should mention, Release 17 is going to be complete this year. And typically it's 18 to 24 months before we see a release deployed out in the field. We are also starting on 3GPP Release 18, which represents a major evolution of the 5G system. And it's because of that major evolution, they branded Release 18 as 5G Advanced. Among the improvements at Release 18 area of artificial intelligence and extended reality that will enable highly intelligent network solutions that can support a variety of use cases, some of them in the 5G manufacturing space. 5G Advanced will be built on Release 17, providing intelligent network solutions. It'll cover numerous use cases in addition to the previously defined use case and deployment options. Again, we're going to see artificial intelligence based on machine learning techniques, which will trigger a paradigm shift in the future wireless networks. We also are driving openness. An open architecture is the path forward to demands of networks and emergence of new technologies. Openness, disaggregation, and interoperability are crucial to realizing the full potential of a 5G world. It'll enable new innovation and improve the ability to work community, or making significant progress in aligning the global industry with 29 service providers and over 270 contributing companies. We have continued to emphasize Open RAN as we enhance our network and look beyond. Disaggregation and interoperability are key to realizing the full potential both in 5G and the next G. There are already open commodity hardware-based RAN solutions and some number of actual Open RAN deployments in the field running on commodity hardware. Our strategy is to adopt and implement Open RAN into the network as technology becomes available. Looking forward to the next generation, ATIS has launched the NextG Alliance in October 2020, building on the Path to 6G call to action. It's developed as a private sector initiative, bringing together a collective 6G view from North America, and has grown quickly to nearly 50 fully contributing members from the industry. It's intended to drive industry and leadership for the NextG, working with government and 6G research communities. As we look to the NextG, with the improvements from 2G to 4G, they were very impressive, but they were largely linear, with each generation focused on providing more speed and more capacity. The next 5G experience also provides higher speeds and capacities, but will ultimately do so much more. We're seeing this transformation unfold in sports, retail, mobile gaming, smart factories, healthcare, and more. And with each generation of wireless technology, the ramp up gets more complex and challenging. And if history is any indicator, technology will likely continue to progress to another IMT in the 2030 timeframe, which will be dubbed 6G. And as we look ahead, 6G represents an even greater opportunity to extend wireless solutions into almost every facet of human and machine interaction. While it's still almost a decade away, we do need to start defining the next G to allow time for research and standards to complete. While 6G is expected to revolutionize radio, network technologies, and architecture potentially based on new IMT requirements, it is likely this work won't appear into a new 3GPP release until after release 19 or 20, with commercial deployment readiness around 2030. To understand what 6G miles in delivering the requirements needed to deliver evolutionary use cases and what technology advances are on the horizon for 6G. Some of the use cases can be realized by means of continuous ongoing evolution of 5G technology. Other use cases will require a more radical step, that is a new generation of technology. It's likely that 6G will push the spectrum envelope to the terahertz region, enable throughputs of 100 times that of 5G. The lower frequency bands, however, will continue to provide the wireless connectivity for wide area coverage. So like 5G extension into millimeter wave, extensions to very high terahertz frequency bands is a complement to lower frequency bands by providing extreme traffic capacity and extreme data rates. We're also going to continue to see a trend towards softwareization and disaggregation of network elements. We're going to see extreme edge or edge-centric and data flow across the networks. And current 5G systems have already caught the interest of many specialized vertical industry sectors, and next generation systems will support even more challenging verticals in areas across agriculture, automotive, healthcare, smart factories, smart cities, education, media and entertainment, and address societal and environmental goals. Creating connection is our mission at AT&T, and we take an integrated approach to fixed and wireless broadband connectivity to support and serve our diverse customer segments. We invested over $110 billion on our wireline network. Our millimeter wave spectrum is now available in the US, and our sub-6 low band spectrum now covers more than 250, nearly 500 markets across the core is fully virtualized and running on commercial, common off-the-shelf hardware. And we're developing and testing our standalone 5G core to enable cloud-native functions and network slicing. We see the average household today having 13 connected devices, and we predict this will more than double with it today, also doubling in the near future. We're seeing a significant shift from HD to 4K video content, which is no surprise as many new devices, cameras, and gaming consoles 4K support. We expect to see data consumption increase 5 times in the next 5 years. And for these reasons, we also have a bold fiber expansion plan. We currently offer broadband internet to nearly 15 million customers, locations in 90 metro areas in the US, and we plan and wireline footprints to meet our customers' needs. We believe every American should be connected to the internet, and we're doing our part to make it so. The pandemic has put an enormous exclamation point on this need. We're aggressively expanding and upgrading our networks to provide the fast and reliable internet access that people need. We're working closely with state and local governments as they identify opportunities to build out broadband networks to help close the digital divide. We've invested $2 billion from 2021 to 2024 to help address this digital divide. The renewed commitment combines AT&T's low-cost broadband service offerings with charitable contributions. It builds on our contribution of nearly $1 billion over the last 3 years towards helping the nation's most underserved communities. And we want broadband solutions that are affordable, accessible, and sustainable. So with that, let me just point out some areas for further reading. 5G Americas has a number of white papers that talk about the different releases of 3GPP, where technology is going, mobile communications toward 2030, security for 5G, vertical use cases, as well as fixed wireless. These are available on the 5G America's website, which they'll give on the screen, and they're available for download. I was actually involved in the writing of a number of these papers, so if you do have any questions or want any more information about any of these topics, feel free to contact me. With that, I'd like to thank you, and thanks, Steve, for the invite to talk today. I know we rushed through this pretty quickly, and certainly I'd be willing to come back in the future if there's any more details on any of the topics that we can answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. Any questions or comments for Brian? Going once, going twice. Okay, thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Brian, can you please send me your presentation as soon as possible, please?
Yeah, I'll send it to you right now.
Okay. A couple of things. As many of you probably were watching the transcript and saw, there are many errors. Transcript is a problem. So we'll be looking at some options. In the meantime, we will send you the attendance list as we've done in the past. We will send you the link to the recording and excuse me, and Brian's presentation. So at least you will have that kind of information. I can send the transcript, or you can actually download the transcript if you choose to do so, recognizing that there are a number of errors in that transcript. Any other questions or announcements? If any of you have any suggestions about how we can address the issue of the transcript, please let me know. And with that, any other announcements? Going once, going twice.
So Steve,
yeah, Mark.
Steve, Mark Goldstein, sorry, there's a ping in my background that's going to take a reboot if, so apologize for that. ATIC board meeting, first of the year is this Wednesday. I'll be getting last meeting minutes and announcement out later today. That's noon on Wednesday.
Okay. Any other
Steve?
announcements? Yeah.
Steve, this is Derek. I I don't know. So Governor Ducey is giving his State of the State address at 2:00 this afternoon, and that'll be streamed live on YouTube for any who are interested. I don't know what he's going to say in terms of policy around broadband or digital equity or anything of that nature. I just know that it's happening today, and I'll be watching, and I would encourage others to as well.
Thanks, Derek. I looked for the link on his webpage and couldn't find it.
You know what? I just found it on YouTube. I'll drop it in the chat.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
looked for it. Couldn't find it.
Steve, it's a legislative event. So if you go to azledge.gov,
okay,
and you'll see their linkages. So it's probably about 2:00 today. So it will be on YouTube as well. It'll be on Cox Access on local TV usually. So it's on a number of different channels, but it's a legislative event, not a governor's event.
Not a governor's event. Yep.
Okay. Thanks, John. Anything else? If not, we're done. If any of you want to stay online to Kibitz, we'd be glad to have you. And with that, I'm going to